In today's video, we are talking about one of the biggest money traps people fall into. Trying to look rich instead of, actually being rich. Most people don't get this, but chasing that rich look is the fastest way to stay broke. Real wealth is invisible. It is not the fancy cars, designer clothes, or luxury vacations. It is the money you choose not to spend today to have more in the future. There's this one quote that emphasizes this quite well. Can't really remember where I heard it, but it goes something like this. Spending money to show people that you have money is the fastest way to have less of it. Now let's break down why we fall in this trap of trying to look rich instead of actually building real wealth, how it kills our finances, and of course how you can avoid it. Being rich and looking rich are two completely different things. Someone might seem successful on the outside, but really be struggling financially. Let me tell you a quick story about this young guy driving around in his Porsche. His neighbor saw him every day and thought to himself, wow, this guy must be so rich and successful to be able to drive a car like that. Well, the next day, the guy came home with an old Toyota. The neighbor was amazed and asked him, "Where is your Porsche?" Well, the guy answered, "I defaulted on my loan and the bank took it." This story emphasizes this point so well that looking rich does not mean you're actually rich. For example, when we see someone wearing a Rolex or driving a fancy car, we might automatically assume that they are wealthy. But we don't see the full picture. For all we know, they might be drowning in debt. Looking rich means spending money to signal success, even if it's just an illusion. Today, we see it all over social media. People flexing their watches, nice cars, and luxury vacations. On the other hand, actually being rich means quietly building your assets, the things that put money in your pocket, like stocks, index funds, bonds, and real estate. And true wealth comes with more than just figures in your bank account. It gives you freedom, the control over your time and choices. It also gives you security, knowing that you're not one emergency away from financial disaster. So why do so many people still chase the look over the life? A lot of it comes down to social pressure. We crave validation. We want to be seen as successful. I want to be seen as successful, and you probably do too. But this mindset, the constant need to prove ourselves with flashy things, is what keeps people trapped in paycheck to paycheck living. Which brings us to the next point of the video. Spending to impress other people. Now that we have broken down the difference between being rich and looking rich, let's talk about where this desire begins of trying to impress others with money. You have probably heard the phrase, keeping up with the Joneses. It's the habit of buying things not because we really need them, but because others have them. Luxury vacations, nice car, designer clothes. These purchases are usually not made out of necessity, but to signal status. But here's the truth. Spending money to impress other people usually comes with the cost of our own financial future. We trade long-term freedom for short-term enjoyment. And ironically, the people we are trying to impress usually don't even notice us. They're too caught up in their own lives. It's a losing game. The moment you stop caring about other people's opinions, you will be ahead of the most. This idea is captured quite well by this 18th century story. Denis Diderot, a French philosopher, once received a luxurious robe as a gift. It was far nicer than anything he owned. Instead of enjoying it, he felt like everything else he owned was too shabby by comparison. So he started upgrading everything from his furniture to decor and even artwork to match the robe. His spending spiraled. Later he reflected on how this one gift led him down the path of unnecessary consumption. This is called the Diderot effect, where one new purchase leads to a chain reaction of purchases to keep up with your new image. This is a dangerous cycle you should definitely avoid. This brings us to the next trap. Let's talk about one of the most common ways people try to look rich. Designer clothes and luxury brands. Wearing a $500 Gucci t-shirt might turn a few heads, but most people, they don't care. They're too caught up in their own lives. And here's the kicker. Luxury brands often target middle-class people, not the truly wealthy. It's often the people that have something to prove that buy these luxury brands. The truly wealthy don't need a logo to show their success, their bank accounts and freedom to the talking. Now, I'm not saying you should wear old worn out t-shirts or show up to a meeting in shorts. No, looking presentable is of course important. I'm just saying you don't need designer clothes to look presentable. Instead, invest in well-made basics that are timeless and prioritize quality and fit over brand names. Let's talk about one of the sneakiest wealth killers, eating out too often. It feels harmless. You're tired, it's convenient, and come on. What's one more takeout order, right? But let's do some quick math. Say you eat out just 3 times a week at $22 per meal. That's $66 a week, or roughly $3,430 per year. Now let's compare that to cooking at home. You could make those same meals for about $20 to $25 a week, depending on ingredients and portions. That's around $1,170 per year. You're looking at over $2,200 in savings just from cooking 3 extra meals per week at home. And let's be clear, there's nothing wrong with eating out for special occasions like birthdays, different kinds of celebrations, or catching up with friends. But when takeout becomes the default instead of the exception, you're literally eating away your wealth, bite by bite. Now here's a huge wealth killer. Buying a brand new car. The moment you drive it off the dealership lot, it loses 10 to 15% of its value. And within a year, you'll be down like 30%. And the chances are you didn't pay cash for it, you financed it. So now you're locked with monthly payments, fees, and interest. By the time it's all said and done, you might have paid 50 to 60k for a car that is worth now less than half of that. And the worst part, after 4 to 5 years, the car isn't so shiny and new anymore, and you trade it in, often with negative equity, and start the cycle all over again. This is the car trap, a never-ending loop of payments and depreciation. A common objection from people is that I want something reliable. I don't want to deal with repairs every month. That is a fair point. So buy a 3 to 5-year-old car with low mileage and a solid maintenance record from a brand like Toyota or Honda, so you know the engine is going to be bulletproof. Let someone else take that initial depreciation hit. You'll save thousands and still get a reliable, good-looking vehicle with many years of life left. A car should get you from point A to point B, not drive you into debt. Which brings us to the next point. All of the traps we have talked about in this video, from trying to impress others to luxury cars and designer clothes, lead to one place: high interest consumer debt, and most commonly credit cards. The average interest rate on a credit card is somewhere between 15 to 25%. That means if you carry a balance, the amount you owe can double in just a few years, even if you don't make any additional purchases. That's the vicious cycle of spending tomorrow's money to look rich today. Now you might be asking, but aren't credit cards supposed to be good tools? Yes, they absolutely can be. But as any tool, they can be used to build or to destroy something. The perks are great. You can build your credit score, you can get flight miles, cashback, and purchase protection. But here's the catch. They only work if you pay your balance in full every month. Because if you don't, the rewards and advantages get wiped out by the interest rate. It's like getting $1 in rewards but paying $10 in interest. That is not a smart deal. If there's only one thing you take away from this video, it's this: don't waste your energy trying to look rich. Instead, focus on building real wealth quietly and consistently. Because at the end of the day, it's not about impressing others. It's about building a life that gives you freedom, options, and security. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe for more content on personal finance.